How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Clash Royale on the channel. Today we're going to be doing a tier list of spells and spirits. If you didn't catch last week's episode, please check it out in the link in the descriptions below where we done attacking cards towards buildings. I'm going to be breaking down all the cards within the game and doing them in segments where it's easier to break down which is better and which in different scenarios. So if you are new around here and want to get up to date with all the Clash Royale content, please drop a sub down below. Also guys, I found a mistake that Supercell's made, or I don't know if this is by choice or not, so if you want to find out what that is, stick around in the video. I'll also be leaving links in the description down below for the tier list and last Friday's competition where the winner will be announced this Saturday. So let's start with the tier list. Okay guys, so I've moved position here just so I can get a better angle of the screen, and you can see my hair is starting to grow back after my wife cut it a few weeks ago, so there is some positives by staying inside all this time. So let's start the video. So first up we've got arrows. Arrows is one of the longest serving cards of all time. It's amazing. It's up there with probably one of my favourite cards, but at the start it wasn't. It's obviously very good against Minion Horde, which is a very low level card to get and easy one to boost up, but it's not god tier. It is good, but I'm going to put it in decent just because it's been around. It's quite versatile. Since the rework they've done to it recently where it goes in 3 bursts, it's become very powerful because it can take out multiple things, especially if there's spawning delay. I don't know if I'm a fan of that. I quite like the whole 1 burst and the speed of it, but Supercell do what they do and we live on. Next is the Bar Barrel. Bar Barrel is a different one because obviously it's a spell that spawns a troop. It has had its ups and downs. It's been really powerful as a replacement for Log, obviously without the distance and the damage. Still a very versatile card. I'm not really going to say a lot about it because I do run it quite a bit even with the nerf it had a couple of seasons ago. So I'm going to put it in decent as well. It's not as powerful as it once was, but it's not as fun as it once was either. I think if the distance on it was a bit better, it might be up there. Next time we're going to move over to Clone. Clone has one amazing thing. Was it last year with the Lava Loon and the Lava Clone decks, during the 20 qualifiers for the CRL. It's not great. It's not really been about for a long time. It's meh. That's just what we're going to go with. We're going to put it in the meh category. Also guys, obviously if you disagree with anything of this, the links are in the description down below, so tweet me your tier list as well. Be interested to see how our opinions differ because it's quite a good feedback we all get during this. Next is Earthquake. It only fits in one deck, and that is the Hog decks. It's not good. I absolutely despise it. It's just one of them cards. It's never seen the rise it should. Obviously it was good for the one deck that Hog Earthquake, but it did get nerfed because Hog Rider still, it's a bit of a noob card I find, but that's just the way I see about it. Fireball, banger, absolutely class. It's one of them ones it's been about for ages. It fits in a lot of deck. Whenever you're doing war matches, Fireball and Poison are the sort of cards you'll always go for. Middle range spell damage, does a lot of area, and it's just what you need. Fire Spirit's, a lot of you might say that it is a troop card, but I did find that I've just put spirits in this as that because some of the some of the spirits are spells and some of the spirits are troops. Now, that I don't know if that's a mistake on Supercell's part, but it is something that really needs to be looked into because they said something in the last video about how they were going to start looking to change more spells into spirits, which is interesting to see. Like, I would love to see like a rage spirit, but it's not something they've really got right so far. And the heal spell has obviously had quite a high use rate this season, but it's not at the level that it should be in terms of use rate along everything. But we're not talking about that anymore. We're going back to the Fire Spirits. Fire Spirits are class, especially the Furnace. Like, one of the best cards in the deck. I think it was the first card I got to max level, was the Furnace. To me, they're god tier. I know it's really classing the Furnace and Fire Spirits as two different things. I'm only kidding, there's no way the Fire Spirits are in god tier. We're going to put them probably in meh. They're not as good as they should be, but it's just where they are. They're not really that great. Freeze, as we've seen over the past couple of years, has had a lot of reworks. At times it's been the most overpowered card in the game, especially with Hog Freeze, Graveyard Freeze, Balloon Freeze and so on. But since the rework of it, it's obviously not seen the rate because I think it was the level of the freeze was how long the duration was. So if you had it at max level, you had it for like 7 seconds, which is too long. It's absolutely ridiculous, especially if you had like an executioner or a wizard that would just tear up. But it is one of them cards that's been it does get its use, but it's not as popular now. It's not one of the OG cards, I would say. It's just there now. So we'll put that in meh. I'm going to go with meh with that as well. Moving over to Snowball. Ridiculously overpowered when on its launch. Seen it get nerfed, but the popularity of the slowing effect and the spreading effect made a lot of pros use it. High respect for the card, but it's not one of the ones I think would be there if it wasn't for the pros showing the proper use of it. I do think the Snowball, though, however, does have its good uses, and it is a very good 2 elixir spell to use. I'm probably going to put it in banger. No, decent. There's better cards to go in decent, but I'll probably put it in banger. Decent. Right, we'll go with decent, only because it is still used. When you do get draft mode, you will pick a Snowball over certain other cards, so we will go for Snowball. Goblin Barrel. How I used to hate this card and all them log bait decks, but starting to move over to the dark side and the evil side of using log bait nowadays, since I've been starting up YouTube videos again the past couple of weeks. It's been about for a long time. As we know, it's one of the original cards. It is considered a spell, even though it's one of the ones that also spawn troops. It's got to go in God tier. It's one of the only spells, apart from Graveyard, which you see next, which is a win condition. So it's got to be on one of its own. Like, Goblin Barrel is just one of them that people have been using it. It's been a part of every meta since the game began because of its use in quick cycle rate, so you've got to put it in God tier. As is Graveyard. Graveyard has seen nerf after nerf and then buff after buff. It's just never been steady, but I haven't seen it being touched in quite a long time now. But as like Goblin Barrel, it is a win condition. It is one of the more expensive spells, but what it does, it actually changed the game. When this card came into Clash Royale, the whole game was rethought. Your ideas were changed, how to win was changed. There was nothing that was consistent. It was absolutely brilliant. Yeah, like a whole new meta was created. It's such an original idea. And for that reason, it's got to go in God tier, just because of the usage of it, how fun it is to use. Like, as well, I remember doing splash yard decks that were just incredible fun. One of my friends one time asked me, is like, how do you even win with that deck, when I think it was Baby Dragon, Bowler and Graveyard. But it's just one of them. It's absolutely class. So if you do like that, please leave a comment down below. I'd love to hear your opinions on that. Heal Spirit, one of the new ones. It's so used at the minute. It goes straight into banger. Not really much to say about it. It's just one of them. It's like it's not really been in long enough to have a proper opinion on it. So I think for that reason, I'm actually going to drop it into decent. Just because it's only been out a couple of weeks now. It's fun. Is it going to be that loyal for the long time? Is it going to be nerfed or buffed in the next patch? Who knows? But we're going to go with it in decent. Ice Spirit, it's got to be a banger. I don't like it, I'm crap with it, but it's powerful. It's used a lot of decks. It's really, really versatile. It's a distraction. It's 1 elixir. It slows enemies. It retargets Inferno Dragons and Inferno Towers. It's very, very powerful. I think it deserves a nerf, especially with like maybe the speed of it, or it's, I don't know. There's something that maybe needs a rework with it because it is that powerful, but it's there. It's banger. It's what it is at the minute. Then we have Lightning. Lightning's obviously been around for a long time, as well as are most of these cards. It's ridiculously overpowered, but it does cost 6 elixir. It really depends on the type of deck you're coming up against as well, because Lightning could be totally useless against log bait deck unless you're trying to reset the Inferno Tower, but that's the only use it has in them decks. And then other decks like Splash Guard is also totally useless, but then against sort of like Hog 2.6 is quite good if you can catch the Hog Rider Musketeer and Cannon, or the Ice Golem or something to that effect. For that reason, I think that's also going to go in banger. That's my sort of like thought process behind this, which makes absolutely no sense, and I'm agreeing with that. I'm just making this up as I go, but that's what we've got. Next, we've got the Mirror. I don't really have to say much. It's useless. Rare anyone ever uses it. It's just, they need to think of something else to do, maybe making the cards more powerful instead of just upping a level, but it's there. Poison, absolute banger, one of my favourite cards of all time. Used it in so many decks, it's a lot of fun. Can I put that in that side? Sorry, that'll do, that would annoy me. Poison, one of my favourite cards of all time. Used in so many different golem decks. It's great for stopping Graveyard, which I know is ranked above it, but it's kind of counterintuitively, but it's a lot of fun. Great card. You can't really miss out with poison. Next, Rage is a meh, straight into meh. It's good. It was been reduced in, so many times in Elixir. It has seen more use recently with the balloon. And I did give a tip on that in one of my other videos last week, which you can catch out on my channel as well. Quite good, probably my most views recently, so thank you to everyone who watched that. It is a very powerful card if it's used correctly, and a lot of people don't use it correctly, and they would rather use something else like the Lumberjack in a different way, because they'll get that effect as well as manipulating the decks to do a bit more. I love Rage mode, if I can give you that, but other than that, it's meh. Rocket, you have to be an absolute pro to use, or use Log Bait, which I did say I'm using a bit more, but Rocket's one of them cards, it's like, you've got to be very good with it. We're not Chief Pat here, we don't miss our Rockets. I say that with absolute lies coming out of my teeth. I'm useless with it, mate. I am awful. Not my favourite thing. It's decent though, it's got its uses, and a lot of people use it. Royal Recruit, or not Royal Recruit, Royal Delivery is awful. It's so bad. I don't like it. It needs to have a change. The delay effect, when you play it in the map, you're waiting about 4 seconds before it actually comes out. It's crap. Don't like it. It deserves to be in the bin, or absolutely just reworked. Log, you've got to put in banger. It's been just one of them cards that's used a lot of different decks. He's got his own meta named after it, like Log Bait. I know that's not technically linked to it, but it's a very, very good card. Very powerful. One of the first legendaries you're actually hoping to get when you're in the arenas. So yeah, it's got to go on banger. Tornado, God tier. They were doing a lot of work on Tornado recently that I've seen. Going to be a lot of changes done to it, which is deserved. The card is ridiculously overpowerful. If you can manipulate so many people's, or so many units' positions just using one card, which to like lower level players isn't that important, but when you're playing at a pro level, you need Tornado. That's why it was probably the most banned card, and like whenever they had that sort of effect in all the Clash Royale leagues, most people run Tornado. I think it was run at like 90% or something by Seth from Clash Royale. It needs a work, but it's God tier for now because it's still that powerful. It's still used a lot, so we're going to put that in God tier. And we have Zap. Zap is probably the first card most people will level to max. Something that can kill all like this bats and skeletons, and also reset Inferno Towers when you're trying to boost up your normal cards. Zap's God tier. I don't care what you say. It's class. It's been used for a long time. It's got its use. It's like a weak lightning, but it's exactly what you need. The amount of times you're looking for that extra bit of damage, and you're just like, your both towers on your end and your opponent's end are going down so fast, and you start spamming everything. Zap's the one card you want in your hand because it's so instant. It does the damage you need it to do, and it just retargets things as well, which is a very, very good use going up to low level. So that's it for this week's video, guys. If you do want to have a go at this yourself, the link will be in the description down below, as well as a competition for this Friday. We do want to know if Supercell has had a mistake with what they've called the spirits in this, but it's only a minor mistake, but hopefully someone will see this and get back to us. That's all for today, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!